can keep the YouTube.
I'll just stop and start it again so I can filter later. But anyway.
Okay. It's actually a whole new speech, so and I'll stop in a moment. But I just want to leave you with this. We elect. I want to ask you, what are excuses that the Republican Party and their leadership in the, not the leadership on Merrimack Street, it's a whole set of other problems right now, but the leadership in the House, in the Senate will tell you, whenever you say, how come you don't fight? Well, we got to get more numbers. Once we get more numbers, we'll fight. When Brad was running in 2010, how many state reps were there, Brad?
16.
How many state reps were there in January of 2011? 31?
31, 32.
31, 32, we doubled it. Doubled the seats in the House, so you think we'd start fighting, right?
Especially if you can get the 15 or 20 fiscal conservative Democrats.
Right. I'm just going with Democrats.
Who always said to Brad Jones, if you give me a group I can work with, I'll vote with you. And we needed to get to the 50, the 50-something to stop the budget veto.
But there's a method to my madness. We get more people.
Well, there's more madness to your method.
More madness to my method. We'll get more people. Get more people, we can do more. Worked a little bit. They were able to get a couple of things done, low-hanging fruit stuff. Every year but last year, the majority of them voted for the budget. It's the operating document of the welfare state and the liberal state in Massachusetts and the Democratic priorities. Vote for the budget in small numbers. So this year, the only two people that voted against the budget were Jim Lyons and Mark Lombardo. 27, my good friends, some of them, that I helped. 27 of my good friends voted against or voted for the budget because they got a little something. Or it didn't have taxes. And I love Barbara Anderson. I love her to death. She has been the stalwart of the conservative movement for the past 30 years in Massachusetts. The reason your property taxes don't go up crazy every year is because of Barbara Anderson. But Citizens for Limited Taxation only scores taxes. They don't score the spending. And when you talk to her about it, she said, well, it's going to spend that much anyway, so why do we hold this against the Republicans? The spending gives you the taxes that gives you the spending that gives you the taxes that gives you the spending that gives you the taxes. It's time to cut the spending. And it's time to stand astride and tell them to cut the spending. And not give them the free ride just because, oh, we didn't raise taxes. And the reason I say this is because it's a complete fallacy to their argument that if we get more people, we'll be able to do more. And not the way that I think it is, if you do more, you'll get more people. In 2012, and you can see this on Red Mass Group, and this should infuriate every single one of you that's helped a Republican candidate. In 2012, or a conservative candidate of any party, I know this is the Greater Boston Tea Party and it's a nonpartisan organization, so I have to say candidate of any party. A conservative candidate of any party. In 2012, in a debate, Rhonda Nyman, Corey Welch, on the radio. Rhonda Nyman, Corey Welch goes to Rhonda Nyman, something to the effect of, your runaway spending and your runaway budget, and it's reckless for the people of Massachusetts, something to that effect. She goes, oh, you're one of those crazy Tea Partiers, right? You have to be, because only five really extreme reps that are like affiliated with the Tea Party are the only ones that didn't vote for the priorities of the children of Massachusetts, or something like that. Use the Republicans' vote against the Republican trying to run, or use the supposed conservatives' vote against the conservative trying to run to bring conservatism to Massachusetts. Completely undercut the idea. We get Charlie Baker running for governor on fiscal issues. I don't agree, and if you look at Twitter, I am the biggest rhino on the face of the earth right now. I mean, you might as well mount my head on a rhino thing. I mean, I look like one already, but just keep me going, just give me the horn, right? You might as well say that I am the biggest rhino on the face of the earth right now because I support Charlie Baker over Mark Fisher, who is the conservative Gabriel Gomez. I think we can all agree on that. Charlie Baker has been with us in the trenches over the past 4 years, knocking on doors in urban areas, trying to get people elected in special elections, helping our organizations that help conservative candidates like the Marlboro Republican City Committee. Charlie Baker has been our guy doing that. Now, we have agreed to disagree with him on social issues because I think that the fiscal health of this state is so poor that we need him as the governor. Mark Fisher, where's he been? Great guy. Love Mark Fisher. I have asked him, people have asked him to run for, he lives in my town.
Oh, really?
He lives in Shrewsbury. All the crazy nuts in the conservative movement live in Shrewsbury. Me, Chanel, Mark, all kinds of stuff. You know,
Peter
Karen
Blue.
Polito. It's like the epicenter of...
Is Peter Blue still there?
Peter Blue. It's like the epicenter of conservatism for some reason within like a 2-mile center of my house or something. I don't know. But Mark lives there, and I've asked him, and Chanel has asked him, and other people have asked him, will you please... And his business is in the other part of the state senate district. So there's the state senate district goes like this. He lives here, the business is here. We've asked him to please run for the state senate because we don't have a candidate. And we will raise you more money. And he spent how much money? Could have bought that seat. It's a good seat. But no, he wants to be governor. But we don't know who he is. He hasn't donated to Republican candidates, barely. And he's better than Gabriel in that case. He hasn't actually actively
There is no...
donated to Democrats. But...
There's no conservative version of Gabriel Gomez, because Gabriel Gomez...
No,
it would have been giving him too much of a compliment to call him a
rhino. And the intensity came out of nowhere, and nobody knows what his record is. That's what I mean by the conservative version of Gabriel Gomez. He has not been with us in the trenches over the past few years. Everybody in this room has been with us in the trenches for longer than Mark Fisher has been with us in the trenches. But we're supposed to, as conservative activists, take at face value that he'll do what he says he will do when we have not seen him tested. And that's what gets me upset about this whole... Now, stuff happened at the convention that shouldn't have happened at the convention. People left when they shouldn't have left. Everybody thought that Charlie was going to win overwhelmingly, so the convention got long and people left. Maybe we should have had the vote at 11:45. For those of you there, if we had had the vote at 11:45, we wouldn't be in this mess. Just saying. But that all aside, Charlie's been with us. Now, Charlie's running on a fiscally conservative message. They just took the biggest battle axe and sliced him at his knees. Because when he goes out and complains about the budget and the overwhelming spending, Martha Coakley's going to go, Charlie, I don't know, are you one of those... See, you said you're not a crazy Tea Partier, but I know you're a crazy Tea Partier because only 2 people voted against this budget, and they were crazy Tea Partiers. Completely took an entire issue. Oh, and before I forget to tell you, the rules for the budget debate said you can't discuss local aid, you can't discuss education funding, and you can't discuss welfare reforms. That's 30% of the budget that you are not allowed to talk about during the budget. Because we already took care of those. Now, those are all stuck in conference committee, and who knows what they're going to come out, because that's another thing, because conference committees are sworn to secrecies and oaths and completely untransparent. And regular committees, by the way, are completely untransparent. Their committee votes are not put online. Not only aren't they put online, they hold committee votes on the phone and not in a physical room while they're in a committee.
So you can never tell how your legislators vote.
You can't tell how your legislators vote in committee. You can tell when they do get a roll call how they vote on roll calls.
Are you contending the Republican delegation has been bought off?
I'm not contending they're being bought off, I'm contending they don't fight.
Co-opted?
Co-opted might be a better word. It's not the whole delegation, it's the leadership. We need to change the leadership of Beacon Hill. And I ask your rep if you're going to help your rep when they got your representative. Your representative. If you ask your representative or any representative that's running if they're going to support Brad Jones for leader in 2015, in January 2015. And my rep doesn't have an opponent, and I like my rep a lot. But if he told me no, I probably would say that I'm just not going to help. I would vote for you, but I'm not going to help. Your time can be best spent somewhere else, to me, because if and I said this on Herald Radio, and this will be up on the radio tomorrow. So the Republican leadership has a blog called Scaling Capitol Hill Live blog or whatever it is, and free of charge, and they hate me, free of charge on Red Mass Group. For the past 5 years, all their stories get posted in an RSS feed. Click on any of them. Up until very recently, things that would be mostly on Capitol Hill Live blog, not the abuses of government, the overspending of government, how we're fighting to bring your government back to you and all those things. It was, oh, did you see it's going to be Flag Day tomorrow? Isn't Flag Day a great day? What Memorial Day means to me. Have you hugged your veteran because it's Veterans Day? All good things, but that's all that was on there. It was the place that I went to look for what holiday it was this week. I mean, that was what was on the block. If they had been fighting since 2007, the day Deval Patrick took office, and they don't even put in a budget. They used to have a Republican budget when the Republican governor would give a Republican budget, and I think they used to try and get a vote on it. They just take it, and it was lazy because, oh, here's the budget, here's an amendment, it's the whole budget, and then we'll vote on it or not. They don't even offer an alternative budget. Nobody in this Commonwealth knows what the Republican priorities would be for spending. Because we don't offer an alternative budget, because we're too lazy to do that, which they do in all other states. Just about all other states.
Why don't they object to the rules that are restricting speech on this issue?
Because they have 29, and they got a roll call on it, and they lost.
But they can make noise.
It's too late to make noise when you don't fight. So that's me, not the pressure, but that's me.
Rob, I remember I was asked to debate in favor of question 3, reducing the sales tax to 3% back in 2010.
Right.
And this quote-unquote woman was a member of the Ward 5 Democratic Committee. She goes, Mr. Marston, as a member of the party of no. And she goes on, and I finally said, it's like, at the time we had 4 Republican senators and 16 Republican representatives, and it was like, excuse me, we're barely the party of excuse me.
Right.
That's the party of no. And I think what you're saying, we've got to be the party of no.
Right.
And even if it doesn't get passed, we've got to make the argument.
Right. The job of the opposition party is to oppose. And I'll give you, I'm actually doing the study, and I have ADD, so if anybody wants to help, because I may trail off on the study or not get back to you on email, because I might have a little bit of ADD, or a lot of ADD. I've started looking just about every state in the union, and this is a really weird way to say this, so follow me. The minority party votes no on the majority budget in the majority of states. So if the legislature is Republican in a state, the Democrats in majority of their caucus vote no against the Republican budget. And if the Democrats are the majority in a particular state, the Republicans vote no in the majority, not always 100%, but in the majority on the Democratic budget. The only other state where I have not seen this happen so far, and I'm down to about a quarter of them, is in Alaska.
Which is more like a suburb.
Which is actually kind of more like us, where they have a really bad super minority. But and maybe for the budget because they get stuff. Keiko Oral got something very good for Park in the budget. Jim's amendment failed. Keiko voted for it, and there was some blah 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 people saying that Keiko whatever it was. But Keiko had 2 amendments for Park. One of them was to one of them was to study how much money we were going to spend for Park, and if we really wanted to do it, and study all this stuff, and how much money it was going to cost the state to change from MCAS to Park, which is the Common Core testing.
Okay.
And the Common Core testing part is run by corporations, and those corporations get to keep the kids' data, like personally identifying data, supposedly. So she also had an amendment that said that in Massachusetts we are not going to give the corporations this data for the ones taking the Park pilot test, and that passed as well. Maybe that's why she voted for the budget. I don't know. That's not what she said she voted for the budget. She said she didn't vote for the budget in response to something I put up on Facebook on her wall and asked her a question, why did you vote against the budget? She said, and this is very important for all of you, so all of you that have a Republican representative or know somebody that has a Republican representative, she said, I voted yes because nobody asked me to vote no. I got no calls to vote no from my constituents. So I know for some of you in the city, it's really hard to find a Republican representative. In my area, it's like shooting fish in a barrel because we get a lot of them. But seriously, call the Republican reps that you know and say, on the conference committee budget, which is the final budget after it comes out of conference committee, please find something to vote against in the budget and vote no on the budget. So at least then they're asked.